All right, back on the zone with Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins, and we were talking about going through music and my serious type questions with things. Billy, we actually turned things over to the Zone fans out on our Facebook page, and we got a few questions from them. If you wouldn't mind fielding those.
Of course.
All right, first one comes from Adam O, and he wants to tap into the wrestling side of things. Who is your favorite professional wrestler of all time?
Well, I grew up with Dick the Bruiser, who was in many ways the prototype for Stone Cold Steve Austin. That would have been the 70s. So that's always my favorite wrestler of all time. I think he embodied everything I love about wrestling, and I think I've tried to, in many ways, build an NWA that he would be proud of.
Very cool. I'm a little bit behind you. I grew up in the 80s era. I've always been a Roddy Piper guy. So,
I got to meet Hot Rod once, only for about a minute, but it was really cool to meet him because I'm certainly a fan of his. What a unique and incredible talent.
Yeah. The Piper's Pit segments were still my favorites from back in the day. So, all right. Zach S wants to know. This is a different one. Do you believe in time travel?
I do. I believe that the world is kind of like a very complicated video game that if you can figure it out, you can you can hack the game, for lack of a better way to put it. I think that's you see aspects of that in people who have psychic ability. You see aspects of that in astrology. Do we have that ability now that I know of? No, but it wouldn't surprise me if somebody announces tomorrow they figured it.
Yeah, the way the world is now compared to when I was growing up in the 80s, the stuff we have today, I would be like, no, there's no way that could happen. So I wouldn't close the book on it either. I'm with you on that one 100%, man. John R. wants to know, what's your favorite dipping sauce?
My favorite dipping sauce? You mean like for salsa?
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of, sort of. He said like for chicken fingers. So I don't know if you're a chicken finger guy, but I was like, yeah. So like, what favorite thing to dip a food in, if you will?
Okay, well, it gets complicated. I actually own a vegan cafe in Highland Park, Illinois, so I'm a vegan.
Okay.
So not a lot of chicken fingers going on over here.
There you go.
So unfortunately, I must take myself out of that question.
Okay, no worries. All good, man. So Austin H wants to know, what was the experience of doing the Simpsons episode like years ago?
It was awesome. You go into studio, you meet with everybody, not the actual voice talent, but you meet with the people who produce the show. And they would, they just send you out there by yourself, and they would read the other parts, and they would just ask you to say your line. And then they'd say, okay, can you say it faster? Can you say it slower? Can you say it a little bit more serious? Can you say it a little bit more comedic? And they just did a great job of putting it together. And in a million years, we were certainly touched to be asked to be in the episode, but in a million years, I never would imagine it would be as popular as it's become that episode. And everywhere I go in life, people ask me all the time about it. So it's been a real cool thing.
That's awesome. And I still say one of my favorite lines still of all time is Billy Corgan Smashing Pumpkins, Homer Simpson smiling politely.
Oh, no, listen, I took a picture the other day with a musical artist, and I followed that musical artist to be respectful, and then they posted a picture with me, and that's literally what they wrote in the caption. So I felt like a prop at an amusement park, but it's all good. That's the life I lead.
Oh, man, crazy stuff. And our last question comes from Sean D., and he wants to know, what will it take to get the Smashing Pumpkins to come back to Rochester, New York? And I looked it up. The last time you guys were here was back in 1997 with Fountains of Wayne.
Wow. I don't know. I have nothing but good things to say about Rochester. Touring's so funny because it keeps changing, and we're never quite sure what the trends are. I do know that particularly for cities that you would say were not major cities, you don't see as much touring go through there anymore.
Right.
I don't know if it's an economics issue, if it's because they want people to drive somewhere else to see the shows. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of say over those types of decisions unless, say, we were doing like a club or theater tour. To that question, I have asked the band multiple times over the last 4 or 5 years that I really want to go out and do a theater tour where we kind of do like a deep cut type of tour, and I have not gotten the response that I've needed yet to be able to put that tour together. But let's put it this way, if we do that tour, we will definitely come to Rochester.
There you go. We got the perfect theater for you. We got one of those old school ones built in the early 1900s, which would be amazing to see a deep cut show from you guys there.
Love it. Thank you.
All right, Billy. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I truly do appreciate it. And best of luck with NWA, the new record, and the tour this summer, man. Billy Corgan, the Smashing Pumpkins.
Thank you, my friend.
So there you go. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins. Make sure you check back 941thezone.com. We'll have all the interviews from today. Brian Fallon from Gaslight Anthem and Billy Corgan up there very shortly. Let's wrap it up with one more from Smashing Pumpkins. It's Chair Rock. It's 94.1 The Zone.